Welcome to Earthwork Echoes, where forgotten crafts reveal their secrets. Today we're watching stone become precision. What you're about to see took generations to master. A 2-ton sandstone slab carved entirely by hand into a grinding wheel so accurate it spins at 18 meters per second without wobble. One wrong strike, one hidden crack, and days of brutal work disappear instantly. Spring thaw exposes fresh rock faces, and the craftsmen move quickly. They're marking circles across the stone surface, but first they need to read the rock itself. Natural fissures run through this formation in predictable patterns. Find them early and they become tools. Miss them, and your stone splits exactly where you don't want it. Watch how they establish center points and trace circumferences. The thickness of each layer determines how many wheels they can extract. Sometimes 2 deep, sometimes 3. Every mark made now decides whether weeks of effort produce usable stone or expensive rubble. Now the trenching begins. 2 workers start cutting channels around each marked circle, excavating nearly a foot into solid rock. They work in pairs for a specific reason. One cuts left-handed, the other right. This symmetry matters when carving perfect rounds from unforgiving material. The trenching hammer does most of the work here. 7 to 9 pounds of hardened steel with sharpened cutting edges on both ends. Each blow blasts off small plate-shaped fragments. But the real skill shows in the rhythm. Every strike sets up the next one, creating continuous excavation that follows the curve precisely. Here's something surprising. Those hammers lose their edge fast against sandstone. Each worker burns through 8 to 12 hammers daily. The tools cycle constantly between rock face and forge. When a hammer tip glows red hot, the smith draws iron forward on 4 edges, tapering to a fresh cutting edge. Too thin and it crumbles, Too thick and it won't bite. After shaping comes hardening, brief immersion in the quenching bath, watching for that blue color to run up toward the tip. Only then does full cooling happen. Now comes the part where everything can go wrong. The massive round blank sits ready, and finishers need to separate it from bedrock beneath. They cut a wedge trench at the base, then pack 3/4 of the circumference with iron wedges. 42 to 48 pieces, each seated in that carefully cut groove. 2 finishers start driving from the center point, one moving left, one right. A third worker climbs onto the stone's back. He feels through his feet how pressure distributes. Light blows first, bringing all wedges to equal tension. They can't drive harder on one side than the other. Then you hear it, a deep boom traveling through the ground. The stone breaks free. Crowbars over 2 meters long lever the massive disc from its bed, while stone jacks with triple gear ratios handle the heavy lifting. But look at the underside. The wedges didn't separate this one cleanly. A massive belly of extra stone hangs where flat surface should be. That requires serious removal before finishing. The compass comes out for precision work now. Finishers sight the top surface, finding the most favorable cutting plane. The goal is removing minimal material while achieving perfect flatness. They scribe the line, then rough out the edge with chisel and mallet. Surface dressing begins from outside toward center. Trenching hammers break out protruding rock in flat sections, blow after blow. This tedious work takes half a day under bad conditions. Fresh stone works best because once separated from bedrock, the material hardens and becomes brittle. Morning of the third day arrives with the stone half complete. The leveled top needs final finishing. Squaring at the edge reveals how much adjustment each spot requires. This stone measures 2 meters 75 across. These large wheels face strict precision requirements. At grinding speeds approaching 18 meters per second, any imbalance becomes immediately dangerous. Yep, one finisher scribes the final circle while another begins pointing the face square to angle. Preparations for turning begin while first side work continues. Blocks get positioned to catch the falling stone. Turning timbers go down at the base, cushioned with fabric to protect the rim. A pile structure on the fall side absorbs the impact when the massive disc overturns. After turning, the underside reveals deep scars where lifting wedges tore stone from the wall. Now that massive belly must disappear. The new surface gets scribed, notches allow splitting first shards, and experienced hands work with chisels and wedges until excess stone falls away. Multiple stones stay in production simultaneously. From initial scribing to loading ready product, every stage runs parallel. The loading ramp serves trucks now, though an old stone carter has hitched the traditional wagon once more. Round timbers beneath the grindstone act as rollers. The winch pulls upward while ground skids form the track onto the wagon bed. The stone rolls to center for proper weight distribution. A fresh-cut oak sapling lashes everything secure. Stone carters ranked among the finest horsemen in the region. They conditioned animals for heavy loads and maintained steady pull on steep grades descending into the valley. Badly loaded stones could slip in curves, requiring roadside reloading and often recutting if damaged. Those journeys, those carters, those techniques for controlling multi-ton cargo on mountain roads. Soon the stoneworkers themselves, their specialized skills, their demanding labor, will remain only as memory. These trades deserve to be remembered. Summy, if you want more craftsmanship that shaped communities and built industries, subscribe and join us next time. Drop a like if this earned your attention. There's plenty worth preserving here at Earthwork Echoes.